Hey guys, welcome to another series of this Golang course. So today we will be diving into functions and pointers, and as usual we're going to be having accompanied by the lesson. We're going to have some projects. Okay, so let's dive in straight away. And to start, we are going to create our folder. As usual, let's start with functions. Okay, functions, and yeah, see functions.go for now. Okay, and let's bring in a package min just for turn out red lines. So in Go, functions are fundamental building blocks, right? So we use them to organize and reuse code, and functions are declared with the func keyword followed by the name of the function, parameters, and the return type or types, right? So let's just dive straight into it. So we're going to first of all start by defining a function which takes in two numbers or integers and returns the sum of the integers. So we are going to have our import. Okay, so we're going to have an import fmc. Okay, and then we're going to have here we're going to have something like func main, or we could start with the name of the function first. So we're going to call it function add, which is going to take in a int, b int. Okay, and then it's going to have a return type of integer, and we use the return keyword now to return the result of a and b. So we're just going to say here return a plus b. Okay, now we call upon now our main function, which we're going to do here, and we simply say result. Okay, and we use our shorthand and we do this. So if we were to run this, we would just simply say cd into functions. Okay, and we just say go run functions.go, and we get 12, right? So that's how it works with functions. So now we're also going to be talking about the next part, right? Because remember we said the functions could return could have multiple return values. So we're just going to take a go function that can return multiple values, and this is especially useful when, for example, you're dealing with error handling. So we are still going to come back up here, and we're going to add a parenthesis like this, and we're going to import another library which we call str or string convert. Okay, and we don't use commas. So that's how it's going to look like. So what are we then going to be doing here? So we're going to create a function that is going to have the name parse number, right? So this function is going to attempt to convert a string to an integer, and then it's going to return us the integer value and an error if there is any. So we're going to say func parse number. Okay, and here it's just going to take s, which is a string, and return to us multiple. So we set int and an error. So this is how we define a function that returns multiple or that has multiple return types. Okay, so we are now going to say num and error, and we just syntax. Okay, now we are actually handling string to convert a toy. So it converts a string to an integer, just simple words, and if it fails, it returns an error. So that's why we're using the a toy. So we get that string here, and we're now going to return the num and the error. Okay, so if we get now to our main, we can comment that out. If we get now to our main, we can see the result. Okay, we're going to have result and error, and let's not forget a shorthand property. Okay, we're going to have result and error, and we're going to say parse number, and let's give it something like 43. Okay, and we're going to say if error is equals to nil. So if error is equals to nil, we're going to say error, there was an error passing in number, right? So, right, and then we return from there But since we're going to use else if, it's not really going to be a need to come out, so we'll just say again fmt print ln. Okay, and in this print ln, this, we're just going to say the number is, okay, and then we'll just add a result here. So we'll just say result, right? So that's that. So in simple words, right, this parse number attempts to convert a string to an integer, and it returns two values: the integer result and the error if there's any. And the main is going to check if an error occurred. If so, it's going to print the error, otherwise it's going to print the number, right? So if we try doing that again, clearing, and say okay, go run functions to get 42 as the number, not as a string. So we get 43 or 43, not 42. We get 43 as an integer. Okay, so now here comes the part now of our mini project, right? Nothing really complex, just a simple BMI calculator, right? So once again, we are going to have this commented out. Let me bring this down, and here in our project we're just going to put here BMI calculator, right, where users are just able to enter their height and weight, and then the program calculates their body mass index, which is what we call BMI, right? So it's not going to be something really complex, just a simple calculate BMI, okay, and from there we're just going to take in the weight, okay, and the height, and say float 64. Now you can see this, you are using this type of definition, right, whereby we use one data type to say this and this correspond to that, right? So the weight and the height. So we're just going to say here return, and this is the formula to be able to calculate the BMI, right? So it's the weight divided by the height times the height of that user or that person, right? So now we're going to come now into our main, and I'm just going to do this like this. Okay, now in our main we're going to first of all declare variables again, weight, height, and we're going to say float 64. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do, we're going to prompt the user to enter their weight and height. So we're going to say fmt dot print ln enter weight. I think we're just gonna go with something like print enter weight, and then the next thing now, maybe say in kg, in kg. So they'll be able to enter this in kg, and then the next thing we need to do now is to use fmt to scan, right, like we said. So we use the ampersand again, like we explained in the previous lesson, and then we do again the same thing for fmt print, okay, they enter the height, and I think we should take the height in letters, okay. Then with fmt scan ln the height, okay. So now from there, now we need to call the calculate BMI with the user's input. So we need to call that function. So we're going to say the BMI, it's going to be like this. So calculate with the values that the users entered, and now we're now going to print this BMI. So we're going to say fmt dot print f, okay, print f, and now we're going to say your BMI is, okay. Remember the way we deal with when dealing with stuffs that have to do with floats, right? We always need to do a precision or precise number to the number of decimal points we want, right? Then we need to say it that way. So do this, and then we'll say BMI and that's it. So, and now there are some couple of standards whereby, like I said, it's basically simple. The BMI, the calculate BMI function just calculate the weight and the height, as parameters, and then calculates the BMI using the formula, and from there we prompt the user to enter their weight and height and pass the value to the calculate and then interpret, and that's all. So I'm just gonna enter some random values here. Don't really care about that, so let's just say maybe 20 kilograms, maybe 1.5 or 6. Okay, so if this was a certain user that entered this, so this is what they got: their weight, their height, and their BMI, and then it says they are underweight. Okay, so that was that for functions. Let's go down to the next part where we're going to be talking about pointers, right? So as usual, we are going to say here pointers. Okay, and we're going to create a pointer dot go, or let's just say pointers dot go. Okay, and as usual, let's go to same package main so that we can get out. So now in Go, pointers are variables that hold the memory address to other variable. So pointers kind of like allow functions to modify variables outside their local scope, right? So let's import I think I'll just go with this and just say fmt. So we are now going to say a is equals to 10, right? And we're going to have another one, say p. It's going to be a pointer to a, which we use the ampersand, right? So what we have actually done here is that we have declared an integer variable a with a value of 10, and then we get the memory address of a and assign it to p. So that's actually what we have done here. So the first one there prints 10. Now this second one is going to print the memory address of a, and now this third one is going to dereference b and then get the value of the memory address, right, which is going to be 10. We're just going to see that in a couple of minutes. And after that, I can now come again and do something like this and say p is equals to 20, right? P. So here now what we're doing is that we're changing the value at the memory address of right, to 20, and then we're now going to print the value. So we are somehow like getting the memory address that this p is holding, then going to that value and then changing it to 20, right? So if we now say fmt.print the value of the new value of a, then we're going to see what has happened. So if we cd out and we cd into pointers and we clear, and then we say go run pointers.go. I think I made a mistake in my spelling, so I can say go run pointers.go. Okay, so we see that the first one, like we said, gives us the value of 10. The next one gives us the address, right? The address which the variable p is holding, and then when we dereference it using the asterisk sign, then we get the value. And we now change the new value of a to 20. That's when we print a again. The new value of a now is 20. Okay, so nothing complex with pointers, right? The ampersand and a. Remember, whenever you put ampersand in front of a variable, it means that you're trying to get the address of that, and the asterisk just means you're dereferencing it. That means you're trying to access or modify the value stored at that particular address. Okay, so we're not going to have a simple project, right? Simple project. Now a simple project that we're going to do here is just a pointer based swapper. So if I close this and I bring this here, and I say project is going to be pointer based swapper. Okay, Now this pointer based swap, we're just going to write a function that swaps the values of two variables using what pointers to be able to take what we learned into action. So we're going to say func swap, okay, we're going to say x comma y, and we dereference the integer, and that's it. So now the swap function is going to take pointers to two integers and swap their values. So we're going to start by creating a temporary variable that's going to hold the value of x. So we're going to say temp will be equals to x, okay, x dereference x like this, and the next thing now we take x and y. That here now we are going to set the value of x to the value of y. I hope you can understand. So that means whatever value was in y, we're going to store that in x, okay, and then now the value that was in the temporal variable, we're not going to store it in y, so we're going to say this, so whatever value that was here, we're not going to store it in y, and our swap is complete. So all what we just need to do now is to come to this main, okay, we can comment all of this out, okay, and comment all of that out, and what we come and do here now is we say a comma b, and mind you that we can also do this 3 and 7, right, as well as we can do it for use the shorthand to define variables, right, a common data type. We can also do this with integers. So now we're going to say fmt print, we're going to say print ln, and we're going to say before swap, okay, before swap we're going to be having a is equals to %d, okay, comma, and b is equals to b %d as well. And now we are going to swap, okay, so we're going to swap a and b. Cannot use, okay, was going to pass in the address, so we are passing in the address, so that, and then now we can just simply take this again and print after swap. So after swap, now we're going to have the new value of d and b, okay, and okay, fmt printf, because we're using these symbols, the percent, this percent, these symbols, this %f, so we use printf. Okay, so just a quick explanation of what is happening here is that the swap takes two integers, right, x and y, and then now the values at asterisk x and asterisk y are swapped using a temporary variable, all right, or the dereference x and the dereference y, and then we pass now in the main function, we pass the address of a and b to the swap, which is found in that main function which we're talking about. And what happens now is that the values now of a and b are being swapped. So that's just like a simple pointer in action, and let's try running that. So if we say go run pointers, okay, and I think I could use some fmt.println here, and let's go again. Okay, so we get the before swap and the after swap, right? So thank you guys for watching, and make sure to stick again around for more upcoming videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.